Guys, how's it going? It's your boy Nate. Again, I just want to say thank you guys so much for all the encouragement. I know I keep saying this, guys, but you have been incredible. I want you to know that I highly appreciate it. If there's anything I can do to give back, you guys let me know. It's really just an honor and a privilege to be able to answer your questions, your comments, things like that. Every like you guys leave, everything, guys, it's incredible. So thank you so much for that. I hope you guys are getting value out of these videos. I know a few people have let me know they are, but guys, I don't do it for that. I do it so, just that one person out there gets something from it. So again, guys, thank you so much. You fill me up with joy, and I want to be able to give that back. And I pray that today this video will speak to somebody. And guys, today this video is going to be about don't worry and don't lose hope. Okay, there's a lot of things going on in this world. I'm in the United States of America, right? And there's some crazy things happening. Seems like every week there's something new. We've already been off to a very crazy start this year. We've had a very crazy last 4 or 5 years, honestly. And the world has, guys, in so many ways. We all have our own struggles in different ways. And I want to give you guys hope wherever you are in the world, wherever you're watching this, whatever your circumstance, to not worry and don't lose hope. You see, I was one of those people in life that worried tremendously about everything. I was very anxious, right? Grew up in a very anxious environment, and I carried that into adulthood, right? It's something I still deal with. And guys, really the only peace and hope I've ever found is in Jesus Christ and his word. You see, he tells us not to worry. He says, don't be anxious. Don't worry about tomorrow. Today has enough trouble of its own, And I think that if we lived more like that, guys, I can tell you from my experience, when I live more like that, when I focus on today and what today has and what I can get done today, so much better life, guys, so much more profitable lifestyle, so much more peaceful lifestyle. That doesn't mean you forget about tomorrow. That just means you don't worry about it, right? That doesn't mean you put so much effort and stock into tomorrow that you forget about today. Guys, get done what needs to be done today to the fullest extent. And the greatest thing is, you'll probably have less to do tomorrow. What happens is, a lot of times we do just enough to get by day to day, and we do just enough that's required, and then we always end up playing catch up. And that's why we're always worrying. We're always worrying because tomorrow's going to come. It's going to hit us like a bag of bricks. But if we can focus on today, guys, on what impact, on what progress, on what we can do today, it would be a much simpler life. Also want to give you guys hope. Don't worry about the circumstances around you. I know there's some very crazy things going on in the world, and I pray for those people, and I hope that you'll pray for them as well. If you've been affected by that, I want to let you know that you are in our prayers, right? There's a lot of crazy fires and stuff going on. We're about to have a crazy winter storm come through. We've had some crazy events happen, right? The first, day of the year, right? A lot of families, a lot of people are affected. A lot of people in the military are affected right now, guys. But don't worry, don't lose hope, all right? God works all things together for his good. I talked about this the other day, but I want you guys to know that God works everything, even the things that us men, us people screw up, even the sins we commit, the evil we commit, the wrong we commit. God will work all of it together for his good. There will be justice. There will be mercy. There will be retribution. There will be restitution. There will be a hope greater than all of this, guys. There is a hope greater than all this, and that's the hope that Jesus Christ is going to finish what he started, because he already fulfilled everything he said he was going to fulfill. Now he's just got to come back and close out the last chapter, right? And a lot of people think that we're living in those last times, and guys, I can't give you an answer. We shouldn't worry about it too much. We're commanded to live like Christ, to spread his word, to be a example, to be a light, right? That doesn't mean, a lot of people right now are like, well, I don't want to have families because this world's evil. Guys, if God's calling you to have a family, have a family. You can still raise children in the love, the sight, the admonition, the fear of the Lord. You can still have and find a godly wife or godly husband. You can still live a godly life. Do not fall into these extremes, because it says in the last days, people will not permit people to marry, right? Well, it says in the last days that basically people will talk people out of doing a lot of things, right? People will be discouraged from doing a lot of things. And guys, it's all by design. You see, this world lives off of fear. Everybody is moved by fear. And we have to make sure we don't worry and don't become anxious about these things, because it's so easy to get caught up. But guys, God's already won. Christ has already won. In the end, he's won. He's working all things together for his good. How many times have you worried about something and then it's turned out all right? How many times has something gone crazy and then guess what? It's turned out all right. And guys, maybe there's times where it seems like it didn't turn out right, but then maybe decades later, you'll look back and go, oh, that's why it had to happen that way. That's why it did happen that way. Or maybe there's certain things where you're just like, I don't know why it happened that way, and I never will. Sometimes, guys, that is just the way that life is. And I know that's not the answer that a lot of people want to hear. It's not the answer that I want to hear. But it's the answer that God gives us. Because if we knew everything, I think we'd go absolutely insane, right? If we were like God and we knew everything, guys, we'd go crazy. We're not meant to know everything. Sometimes this life is just a test of faith, just like Job, right? Satan came to God and said, God, look, this Job guy, man, he's got a lot of stuff going on in his life. You know, he's a big believer in you, but I think I can get him to, pretty sure I can get him to, you know, curse your name and turn his back on you. And God's like, okay, well, the only thing you can't do is, you know, take his life, right? So, very, very interesting how that story plays out, right? If you don't know the whole story, long story short, because it's a decently long story, Job ends up losing everything, and then God restores everything back to him, plus some, right? But you see, it's not always about the monetary things, guys. It's not always about the earthly things. You see, when Christ came, he showed us a better way. When Christ came, the Jews thought that he was going to have a Davidic, which is like a David, right? David of the Bible, David and Goliath. Thought that he was going to establish a military, you know, physical, powerful kingdom on earth and overthrow all the Jewish enemies. You see, the Jews, their heart, the Pharisees and all them, their heart wasn't in the right place. And they twisted the law, they twisted the scriptures to their own benefit and all these things. And guys, honestly, what comes around goes around, and we're seeing a lot of that influence these days, right? You look at a lot of Christianity, you look at a lot of, you know, things, you start to dig and you start to realize a lot of it is just based off of what you can do and what looks right in the eyes of God, right? What looks like you're doing the right thing. And a lot of people would consider themselves Christians because they do the right thing, right? They go to church, they do the right thing. They help people in need, but guys, their hearts are far from God. It's all about them. It's all about them. You have one master, right? You can't serve two masters. You can serve yourself or you can serve God. The Bible says you can't serve money and God. You see, most things, the root of evil is the love of money. And so whether we realize it or not, especially these days when the dollar, right, in the United States is losing its value, we oftentimes find ourselves in some pretty compromising situations, right? Where we have to say, am I going to do this or am I not? Am I going to stand up for what's right and good and truthful and righteous, or am I going to give in to fear? Am I going to give in to the want of money? You see, a lot of times, guys, we say one thing and we do another. We say one thing, but then we let the worry, we let the anxiety, we let these things get to us and we make decisions. And guys, I'm not here to tell you that something's right or something's wrong, because the Bible does that and the Spirit convicts you. And, you know, unless you're bringing up something to me, I can't really, you know, say that something's right or wrong, because I'm probably guilty of it myself. But I can say this: when we live in the way of worry, of anxiety, we do make wrong decisions. And we make those decisions sometimes we can't undo. You see, these days, a lot of people, I know people, myself in the past, who have said this, what are you going to do about this? What are you going to do about that? Don't you know you need money for this? Don't you know you need money for that? And you know what I tell them? I tell them, well, you're right. You do need money. You do. I said, God will provide. God will provide. And guys, I was saying that for a good 3 years. And there are times, guys, in those 3 years to this day, I don't know how I made it through. It's only by God's grace. It's only by his mercy, by his providence, right? And thankfully, he showed me a better way, right? He showed me a lot of wisdom. He showed me how to get back up on the right path and to do things his way. But guys, there were times those 3 years where he shouldn't have been merciful to me. He shouldn't have been as providential and loving to me. But I thank him for it. And I thank him that I'm able to give this testimony for that. Because there were times, guys, where I lived life on red line, where I was living life in constant anxiety. I'm talking about going to bed, couldn't sleep, woke up like that for weeks, right? Didn't know if I was going to have food in the fridge or have enough money to pay my car bill or pay for gas. There were times where I was trying to figure out if I had enough money to pay for gas so I could do, DoorDash, deliveries, right? So I could deliver to people to make money so that I could turn around and pay for gas and pay for food, or if I had enough money to pay for food. Somehow God always provided, guys. Sometimes it didn't make sense. The money didn't make sense. Sometimes the numbers didn't add up. And then there were times in my life where, guys, I thought that I only had this certain, there were times where it seemed like I only had certain ways or certain things that I could do, right? Where these opportunities would be presented to me and I had a choice to make if I would basically sell my soul to that, if I would stoop to that, or if I would trust in God. And trusting in God, guys, got me here. I always wanted to make a channel for you guys. I've always wanted to give encouragement. I always wanted to do some sort of YouTube channel, right? And it wasn't until God brought me through all that. One day he said, look, are you going to do this or not? Are you going to live a life of regret? This is what I made you to do, to encourage people, to talk to people, to give a testimony and bring glory to my name. And so one day I just started making videos, right? I've made a lot of videos on relationships because I think that's important, right? People, they want to know about that. But I think what's more important is the human soul, guys, your individual soul. Work out your salvation with fear and trembling, right? And so when we live in this anxiety and frustration, guys, it eats away at us, right? God doesn't want us to live in fear and anxiety, right? But if you are in a situation in life where you are living like that, because I've been there. I was there for a long, long time, right? Everything I get, every blessing I get is from God. Everything, guys, right? But if you're living like that, you have a choice to trust in God. I'm telling you guys, he can make a path in the wilderness. He can make an oasis in the desert. He can do things that you never thought possible just in the nick of time, guys. Just at the right time. Just when you think all hope is lost. Just when you think there wasn't any more time or any more money. He can make a way. He does make a way. He's made a way in my life. He's made a way in other people's lives. Jesus will make a way for his people. Do you not know that he knows when every bird falls out of the sky, that he has numbered every hair on your head? How much more will he take care of you? How much more if you just cry out to him? Don't be stuck in your anxiety and your fear, guys. When you're in that state, you are feeding the evil one. The evil one loves fear. He loves it, guys, because fear separates us from the love of Christ. And the love of Christ is life. Fear, right? Fear always goes back to death, the fear of dying. That's essentially what all fear goes back to, the fear of death, right? So fear, the devil loves to feed on fear. He loves it as fuel for him and for the evil ones that work with him, right? His evil spirits. They love that. They love fear. Absolutely love it, right? That's why when you wake up in the middle of the night and you have a nightmare and you feel like there's, something's off in the room and Maybe you're seeing some weird shadows and you're just feeling some things that are off, right? Guys, we fight against principalities and powers and spirits in the dark places. Rebuke them in Jesus' name. Set your mind on Jesus and his word. Do not be afraid. Jesus is there. He can overcome. He is the one who casts out the evil ones. He's the one who casts out the evil spirits. Guys, cling to Jesus. Don't cling to the fear. The fear is going to drive you deeper and deeper and deeper. Guys, this life is a test. And sometimes the Lord puts us through tests for a reason. Sometimes we don't know why, right? Sometimes we don't know why for a long time. And sometimes maybe we start to have an idea. I believe that God puts us through a lot of tests because he wants to test our faith. And because when our faith is tested, it produces fruit. When our faith is tested, it produces righteousness. It produces something that really nothing else can, right? Because your faith is going to produce either you clinging to God, you running to God, kneeling before God, you putting your faith and trust in him, or putting your faith and trust in yourself or the things of the world. It's really going to separate who his people are. And so when the people of God go through these crazy things in life, or they do these crazy things in life, and maybe they make a 180 because the Lord is gracious and he makes people have a heart of flesh, right? He gives people a new heart, a new mind. People look at that and they go, there is something different about them. There is something about them that you just cannot put your finger on. How do they do it? It's the love of Christ. It's Jesus. It's God. It's his Holy Spirit. It's all these things. And then that uses you as a testimony, as a witness that can spur on the gospel, right? So stop thinking it's all about you, right? Oh, woe is me. I can't do this. I can't fix this. I'm so worried. I'm so anxious, guys. Don't get me wrong. I've been there, but looking back, it's all silly. And I'm sure there's still going to be times, but guys, it produces perseverance. Guys, perseverance. Guys, it's an incredible trait. You see, the hardest things in life come from being put to the test, being put under trial. Just like going to the gym, breaking down the muscle so it builds back up stronger and bigger. Just like going on a run so you get more and more aerobic abilities, right? You get the ability, your heart is able to pump more efficiently. Your body's able to run longer distances. Your lungs expand with more oxygen. You're able to do things you're not able to do beforehand, right? Same thing with the spirit. The same thing with trials on earth, guys. The fact that you go through all these things, guys, there are things in my life that have happened because I've been through all these things. If I did not go through all those things, if these certain things happened, I would be like up in a whirl. I wouldn't know what I was doing. But thanks be to God, he brought me through that for a reason, to show me that it's not about me and my strength, but to show me that his strength, his grace will suffice and preserve. His power will overcome any obstacle that you face, so that when the next trial comes, or that when the next, inconvenience in life comes, I'm not left going, oh my goodness, how am I going to do this? What's going to happen? I immediately turn to Christ and go, he is the way, the truth, and the life. He is the Son of God. He is who he says he is. And he is who he says he was. And he brought me through before. He will bring me through again. I have nothing to fear. I have nothing to worry. And if things should go to complete tragedy, right? You have a week to live. You lose everything. You're bankrupt. Your family leaves. Your friends don't want to talk to you. You've lost everything. Guys, there's Christians who are put in prison. We're going to start seeing it happen more and more as good becomes evil and evil becomes good. I believe that's going to be one of the next things we're going to see. Guys, when everything goes wrong, it seems like everything's being stripped away. Know that your hope, your ultimate hope, and your life, everything is found in Jesus, right? Everything he gives you is a gift anyway. So we should live every moment giving that gift to others, shining that light that he's shining to us, giving, right? Giving from a place of love, right? Giving from a place we can build others up, whatever that gift might look like. So don't be anxious. Don't worry. He's got it figured out. He's going to win in the end. He's going to overcome all the evil. And guys, this world is going to seem like a blip, a speck, a drop, a vapor in the vastness of eternity to come. The eternity to come, guys, is going to be wonderful. We're going to be able to serve one another in perfect holiness. We're going to be able to serve and praise God. We're going to be able to understand more of who He is, to live in a place with no more tears or pain or sorrow or anything, right? So if that's our hope, if that's what we're looking for, if that's what we're living for now, don't let the worry get to you. Don't let the anxiety get to you, guys, because that's the evil one putting the doubt into your mind to try to steer you away. But he will never be able to pluck you out of the hand of Christ. So guys, don't worry. Don't be anxious. All these things in life are happening. God's got His hand over everything. He's watching everything. He will not let anything happen that's not according to His plan. And even when bad things happen, He will work all things together for good. All of them. All the bad things together for good to those who love Him, who are called according to His purpose. So if you're not called according to His purpose, if you don't know Christ, I pray and hope that you would call out to Christ. You'd repent, you'd turn from your sin, you'd ask Him to reveal Himself to you, that you'd make Him Lord of your life. You would open up the Bible to the Gospel of John. You would read that He is the way, the truth, and the life, that He became Word in the flesh, He dwelt amongst men, that He gave up His life for you, that He loves you, He's got a purpose for you, and that He is your hope when everything is going to complete chaos. So guys, hope you guys get something from this. If you need anything, let me know below. But I'll see y'all at the next one.